Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day for Saturday, April the 22nd is race number 11 at Charlestown, the Grade 2 $1.25 million Charlestown Classic at 1 1/8 And I want to remind everybody, we have a great offer on DRF.com. Buy any Saturday Pass performance and you get the entire card at Charlestown for free. Bonus PPs for Charlestown with purchase of any Saturday DRF PP. Now let's take a look at the field for the Charlestown Classic. Again, a 3-turn race at Charlestown. We've got a nice field, and we've got the defending champion, the number 1 Stanford, Mike Beer.
Yeah, this is a pretty good field this year. I feel like, and I do think Stanford's probably the horse to beat as he tries to defend his title. I think this field might be a little bit tougher than the one last year. The other thing with him last year, that race last year, he just got to the front and it just felt like there was no closing going on. I think this race might be a little different.
Free Formulator Pass performances available on the Race of the Day event page. Download them and handicap along with us in post-position order. And your point is very well taken on both fronts. A, this is a tougher field than the one he faced last year.
So.
B, he controlled the pace on the lead. And with several other speed horses in here, it's unlikely he'll get that same trip. But is Stanford a one-trick pony? Can he sit from off the pace and still be effective?
I think that he can. I don't think he needs the lead to win. I just wonder if this race will be a little different. I don't know that I felt like that was some kind of big speed favoring track or anything last year. It just felt like one of those races where, for whatever reason, the closers, they just never made an impact in that race. I wonder if it'll be a little different this year. I have no problem with Stanford. If you like him, then you should bet him and use him in all your multi-race wagers. And I'll use him, but I don't know that I feel like he just has to win this race at 7 or 8 to 5.
And he is 8 to 5 on the morning line. You mentioned that last year's Charlestown Classic was dominated by speed. The recent Challenger Stakes at Tampa Bay was dominated by speed, led by Stanford, who was way the horse to beat. They ran 1-2 around the track. It was Stanford's first race with blinkers. How is he coming into this race from an overall form standpoint? Can you look at the Challenger and say, well, he's supposed to win, especially with that trip?
Yeah, I think he's coming in good form. Obviously, he's got 3 triple-digit buyers on the way, and he's come back in good form for Pletcher. He was just, he was supposed to win the Challenger. He was 1-2, but he was way the best in that race. He crushed that field. And even though he got beat 2 starts back in the Poseidon by Imperative, who will race again here, I feel like that 1 1/8 just got him in that race. I don't think he really wants to go that far. It's a little bit different here with the 3-turn 1 1/8. I think that actually helps him, but this distance pushes his limits, I think.
The number 2 is Sunny Ridge. This is a New Jersey-bred son of the great Holy Bull. And Sunny Ridge, I think, is coming right into hand now for Jason Service, a maturing 4-year-old. He always had talent at 2, showed some ability at 3, but at 4 now at these middle distance races, Sunny Ridge is very comfortable, and best of all for him is he's going to get some pace to work with.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think all those things are true. They put one over, didn't they, when they debuted this horse for 40? I think they probably knew nobody would take him because he's got no pedigree. He's a good horse, though. His last 2 races are the best that he's run. He's gotten 2 very good trips in those races to win. But this is a horse who was due some racing luck. He's had a lot of excuses since he won. He was really good winning the Withers really early as a 3-year-old. He had tons of excuses in between then and his last 2 wins. I think he ran great both times. I think he's going to get a good trip in this race. And I love that he has the Delta Jackpot in his back pocket. I think it sort of shows that he'll handle this bull. He ran great in the Delta Jackpot. I think he ran the best race in there, even though he was second to Exaggerator. So I feel like that's going to help him on this track.
That's a very, very good point, because I was going to try to make a counterpoint and play devil's advocate and say, could you make an argument that Sunny Ridge's best races have come of the inner dirt at Aqueduct, his recent improvement perhaps coinciding with that? But I think that's a good point. He's run well out of town, especially over quirky configuration racetracks like Delta Downs. The number 3 is Gangster for trainer Doug O'Neill, and Gangster was up on a pretty good pace in the big cap, pressing Midnight Storm last time out, and he paid the price.
Right.
That being said, he seems more like a turf horse.
He does, at least lately anyway. I remember when he first started his career in New York for Pletcher, he was okay on dirt. He ran a big figure in his second career start when Pletcher stretched him out at Saratoga. Things didn't go great for him after that. I don't know. I just feel like this is not a great spot for him. On the other hand, there are a lot of, I want to say logical horses in this race. If I was just going to take some kind of crazy shot here with a big price, it would be Gangster. I think he's okay.
We mentioned the pace at the onset of the stakes preview. Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for the Charlestown Classic, and they don't believe it's going to be as hot as we do. They have Matt King Cole, the number 4, a very lightly raced and talented 4-year-old, trained by Linda Rice on the lead, and he was on an easy lead last time out, and he just held off against weaker horses.
Yeah, he did. He was pretty game to win it, though. I like that performance from him. Listen, he's been nothing but speed since they started with him for Linda. So I'm assuming that he will try and get forward in this race. And then we'll just see how he classes up. I've always had a little thing for this horse. I think he's good, and I'm glad he's finally getting a shot in races like this because I think he deserves it. This is not an easy spot for him, though.
It's not an easy spot at all, though if he gets that kind of trip, his connections will be happy. I'll disagree with the pace projector simply because of the presence of the number 8 Cautious Giant. There were several horses in this race owned by Luch Racing, and this horse was a sprinter in Southern California. Kristen Mulhall did a very good job with this horse. He was claimed out of his last race. He's stretching all the way out. It just seems like he is here to help his fellow Luch stablemate Imperative.
Yeah, I think that's true. So that's how I looked at him as well. I just feel like they probably brought him here to let him come out of there running and make some pace. Whether he can win or not, I think that's going to be pretty hard for him, but I think it'll be part of the pace.
Imperative, the number 5, has obvious credentials. He won this race in 2014. He was second in it in 2015, and he was compromised by the lack of pace last year. But he runs well over this surface every time. You see him when he watches jackrabbits right around the turns. He takes them beautifully. And he took the measure of Stanford at Pletcher's home track, so to speak, over the winter. The Poseidon handicap at this distance 2 starts back. The big cap, he lost 2 shoes supposedly in the early portion of the race. It didn't help that he was in the 5 path throughout. But that being said, I needed to see him run, and he didn't.
I love the lost shoe excuse. I feel like I hear that quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't run it. He just didn't run well last time in the big cap, which is a little bit of a concern. But he ran so well one start before that at Gulfstream. He ran really well to beat Stanford that day. I don't know. I just have to make him a contender in this race, Dan. Hopefully, it's not a similar situation to last year where he just couldn't close, because if he can get himself into range, he's going to make a run at this.
And again, he should get some pace. Luch also has the 6 War Story. Looking at War Story's recent past performances, the 106 Beyer speed figure at this distance in the Queens County, well, it stands out like a sore thumb. And you have to remember that day, although he beat Sunny Ridge, he just benefited from a speed rail track.
Yeah, that's all that was too. I mean, first of all, he got a real heads-up ride in that race from Gallardo, because he just went to the front when nobody else, for some reason, nobody else went. He went to the front. He took it. He rode a gold rail to victory. His next 2 races, I actually thought he ran fine in the Pegasus World Cup, all things considered. I mean, there wasn't anything wrong with that performance. I don't know what to say about his Hooper. I guess he can win. I don't like him that much.
Boris Zadva is sort of an in-and-outer. He's a true one-run closer that's going to drop back to last and hope that he gets a trip. But there are other closers in this race that might simply be better.
Yeah, I mean, I like him as a horse quite a bit. I just don't like him in this race.
We talked about Cautious Giant being a major pace factor, stretching out off the claim. Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 2 Charlestown Classic. Mike, you're going with Sunny Ridge, 6-1 on the morning line, and you'd be happy with that price.
Yeah, is he going to be 6?
I think he'll be a little shorter.
I think he'll be a little shorter too, but I like him in this race.
I'm going to have to use Sunny Ridge as well, but I think that Stanford's the most likely winner. And from a pace standpoint, I think Matt King Cole and the Rabbit go. Stanford sits 3rd and saves ground under Johnny V. And Stanford, along with Sunny Ridge, get the jump on the true closers, namely Imperative and War Story. Mike's going 2, 1, 5, 4. I'm going 1, 2, 4, 5 in the Charlestown Classic. And if you were playing the Charlestown Saturday card from home, DRF Bets invites you to be a VIP for a week. Start with a $300 bonus and lots of other goodies. Again, at drfbets.com/VIP. Again, remember, on Saturday, buy any Racing Form past performance and you get the entire Charlestown card for free. Approximate post time for the Classic, 5:35 Eastern. Best of luck.